Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and today we have a wonderful guest, Dawn Holly Johnson. Dawn is business transformation engineer, and our topic today is what CEOs don't know. Dawn, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Dawn. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Dawn is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Dawn, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business?
Absolutely. So as I grew up in Canada and had the opportunity to begin my engineering degree there. And when my mother fell ill, we moved to the United States. When she died, we moved to the United States. And it took several years to complete my degree. And while I was doing that, I worked several blue-collar jobs. And I had begun to do that in my early teens, actually, began working. And as I completed my degree, I took on several internships, and then for the last 25 years now, I've been working professionally in the role of beginning process engineer into becoming an organizational transformation expert. And throughout that period, I have worked in every single major industry, every size of business possible. And even prior to my becoming an expert at evaluating the efficiency and effectiveness of an organization, I began to notice patterns. It's my natural talent to do that. And what I came to realize is that every business has the same basic problems, and nobody's seeing this. They're common. Everybody thinks their problems are unique, or I go to another industry and they think that, oh, well, in this industry, we deal with this. There are some uniquenesses from industry to industry, but basically everybody's suffering from the same issues culturally, organizational performance-wise. CEOs are struggling with the same things. Typically cultures, people are struggling with the same workplace environment issues. And I figured out why. And nobody's figured it out. So I began to write a book 4 years ago, which became What CEOs Don't Know, pointing out what everybody is doing, what is status quo today, and how it really doesn't work. Because when people are unconsciously doing things, they don't even know that they're not even aware that they're taking certain actions or taking on certain behaviors, or it becomes such a rote practice. And so I have to interrupt that and be able to show people that really everything you're taught in business school, pretty much everything you're taught in the real, whether you've been to the University of Harvard or the University of Hard Knocks, you're doing a lot of this unconsciously or consciously, but you think it's the best practice, and it's not. And there's a much better way to take on proven business practices that work. And many of these proven practices, they're timeless. They've been around for decades, but they're not mainstream. And I've identified why that adaptation hasn't happened either. So that's in the journey of writing the book is where I really began to formalize and recognize it's just a blind spot in our cultures, that we just can't see that how we're setting up our organizations doesn't work.
I hear you, and thank you for sharing your journey, Dawn. And you've got lots of experience, and I'm guessing you are going to be in demand because of all the last year of the pandemic. There's going to be lots of businesses and organizations that are going to need your skills. Who are your clients, Dawn? What clients do you serve?
Well, honestly, I can serve any organization and any type of organization. It does not matter industry. And it's interesting, for instance, when I moved from our aerospace to healthcare, at first there was a lot of resistance. Well, how do you know what we're able to do? But I quickly found $1 billion in opportunity in healthcare, and I didn't have a clinical degree. So it's the nature of how I'm trained and how my brain works that I'm able to find these opportunities. And it really doesn't matter. But typically, for startups, for any organization that's just starting out, it's a great opportunity to read the book and know what to do. How to set your organization up properly from the beginning. I've also developed the Wildly Successful Enterprises program, which helps walk everyone in the organization. So once your organization begins to be 100 people or more, you've got to be able to bring everyone through this transformation, which, it's different, but it's not difficult. But they have all learned traditional practices. So you have to bring everyone through to this new vision, this new change, which is simpler, by the way. It's just, you got to get them there because they don't even know it exists. And, and so that program is designed, up to 10,000 person companies or organizations to be able to translate to folks, to have people self-realize that there's a new way to work that's better, that's more collaborative, future-focused, adaptable, fun, high-performing. All of that can happen. You just got to bring everybody to it. And so we're really targeting right now mid-market companies. I think they've grown big enough, they're feeling the pain and need our help. But any business owner or leader of an organization can benefit from this information.
And what I like about what you said is starting right from the beginning. That makes total sense, because if you're starting right from the beginning, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business, Dawn?
Oh, like it was yesterday. When I began journaling, just, how you start downloading your brain to write a book, right? And it was very cathartic for me. There was a lot of frustration by then in my career because I had brought a lot of positive change, and yet I was subject to several layoffs. Time and again, our group, or maybe I was the only one, would be released because we were looked at as overhead. And so I would bring in tens of millions of dollars and literally get laid off 2 weeks later. That happened 2 or 3 times to me. It's very shocking to go through that. And I was in this period of looking and wondering, why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, leaders are denying to create healthier organizations. And I'm helping them do that. And they can't even appreciate it. What's going on here? I couldn't figure it out. And so I began to ask myself the question, what is it that they don't understand? What is it they don't see? And a few days later, after sleeping on that question, I woke up and I had the answer just like that. And I thought, oh my gosh, they can't even see. They can't even hear what I'm telling them, because the traditional paradigm is so ingrained in all of us, including the fact that it took me 20 years to recognize what the answer was, because I was born into the paradigm. I was also thinking that way. And so once I could see the opportunity, then I had to figure out how do I communicate to the masses what they don't know that they don't know, and have them be able to see a bright new future. And so over the period of 4 years of, ebbs and flows, writing the book, I believe I have struck on this, and I'm excited. I'm excited. My ultimate goal here is that we're so able to become effective in any organization. I'm talking from charities to businesses to educational systems to healthcare systems. We become so effective at what we do and create such collaborative organizations that we very effectively use all the resources on the planet, and that every human being on the planet will have their basic needs met. That's my goal.
I love your ha-ha moment. And what I love about ha-ha moments, it always comes from being tested and going through testing times that leads us to these breakthroughs. Dawn, what really motivates you to jump out of bed every single day?
That goal of just being able to, I'm especially, children are near and dear to my heart. I just adore children. I think they need every chance to be developed and have a wonderful life. Now, what's that got to do with business? Well, I can tell you, I was very disillusioned in my career, always the optimist, very passionate about what I do, very good at what I do, and was consistently stabbed in the back, let go over and over again. I'm not the only one in my profession that's gone through this, but, a lot of people would have given up.
Yes.
But I knew, even my children, when they were small, they said, "I'm after layoff number, I don't know what." And I was the breadwinner. Mom, why don't you just do something different? And I thought about it. I thought about not doing what I did anymore, and that would have been a shame. I stuck it out, but I had to come up with a way to begin to communicate why it is so important to take on many best practices that I talk about in the book. And so I get excited about being able to shift paradigms, because I think it will shift societies and economies around the world, and therefore create a better environment for all children. That's what drives me.
I really resonate with being stabbed in the back, which does happen a lot in business, unfortunately, and not giving up even when people are telling you to give up. That really does resonate with me. I'm so glad you didn't give up, Dawn. Now, Dawn, tell us, what sets your business apart and what unique needs are you filling for your clients?
Well, unlike most experts, quote unquote, which I talk about the fallacy of expertise in my book. Actually, we humans are wired to believe in experts, and there's nothing wrong with you become good at something in the world, and that's fantastic. But typically, an expert is very focused on one particular area. Yeah. So in business, there might be restructuring experts, or there might be merger and acquisition experts, or so on and so forth. Well, I can hit all of it. So whatever you're dealing with, unreliable cash flow, poor productivity, weak employee alignment, achieving scalable and manageable growth, creating an innovative culture, adapting to a fast-changing world, being ready for digital transformation, improving your customer acquisition and retention, being more socially responsible. I could go on. It's the paradigm we're living in that stops us from being able to achieve all of that.
And Dawn, why do you feel your service is especially important in today's modern world?
Can you repeat that, please?
I can. Why is your service especially important in today's modern world?
Well, my experience has been over the past 25 years is that people are quite miserable in the workplace.
Yes.
And I'm an empathic person.
Me
and
too.
It's very hard on me to go into any corporate environment because I can just feel it, how painful it is. Most individuals have gotten to the point where they just shut up and, quote, do their job because they're dependent on that paycheck. I was never that way. I would quit rather than deal with having to live in a culture like that. But some people feel they have no choice. And, there was a recent survey of over 300 individuals where 83% of them defined their workplace cultures as non-resilient. And the highest ranking category was passive aggressive. And that was from Harvard Business Review. So, I mean, there's tons of statistics out there of how miserable people are in their workplaces and how poorly performing businesses are. 50% of startups fail in the first 4 years. And I say half of those are because they're not even set up correctly. And you won't see that in any statistics because of the paradigm. But layoffs, downsizing, reorganizations are commonplace today. And, since the pandemic, I think people have woken up to realize our organizations are not designed to be adaptable at all. And it's estimated that 75% of the current S&P 500 will fall off that portfolio by 2027. And I don't disagree with that. I've been waiting for the Fortune 100 to start imploding one by one because they simply can't survive. They're band-aided together, billions of dollars in waste. I've been in many of them. And within 3 months, identified billions in waste. And they can't survive that way. And their cultures are such that they will not make it. I completely agree with that. That's McKinsey, quoting McKinsey. And 70% of organizational transformations fail due to internal resistance. Well, that's because of the paradigm we live in. People naturally actually resist any of these best practices and change. And that's what I fell on, is how to get people to let go of that traditional paradigm, shift their paradigm to a new future. And it's easy. Once you see it, you know that as soon as you learn something new, you can never look back. Yes. So once you get it, you're good to go.
What I like about what you're doing, Dawn, there is a lot of miserable people, unhappy people in workplace, which makes the workplace less productive. The organizations don't work as well and be as productive as they should be. I like that you're coming from a place of experience and you're about service to make it happier so people do enjoy what they're doing. Now, I would like to ask if you could just share a few more detail on the kind of services and products that you offer, Dawn.
Yes, absolutely. So we start with assessing the organization where it is today, right? We need a baseline to be able to show how well it's performing, how happy the people are, how well the culture is performing, and then everyone goes through the Wildly Successful Enterprises program. Everybody in the organization. So it's like a learning management system. Preferably, people go through these modules in teams, so there's discussion and collaboration. There are assignments at the end of each of these modules for the organization to take on. And essentially, as I speak to in my book, we make 3 simple changes in organizational focus, structure, and mindset. And so once people complete part 1 of the Wildly Successful Enterprises program, then the entire organization knows where they're going. Also, that program's available for new people as they onboard. So because they're coming in with the old paradigm and they've got to be able to switch over to everyone else's new paradigm. And then we provide coaching to the organizations. It's all provided virtually. So no matter where an organization is in the world, it doesn't matter. And, with COVID and everything, this model has been in place pre-COVID. I have been working remotely for 25 years. And so this isn't new to me and been very effective in being able to do this. So we coach organizations through that. And we have, besides coaching them through the paradigm shift and the transformation of the organization, we also have expert leadership coaches, customer acquisition and retention coaches, operational excellence coaches. We've got a great rounding of expertise. So if there's a specific, say, tough problem to solve, we'll get it solved with you. So that's the goal with the program. If an organization wants to move on into part 2, that's far more detailed on how to execute all of this. And it's a much longer program. But we like to see organizations, depending on their size, and when I say size of organization, I'm talking number of employees. Again, in the traditional paradigm, we tend to talk about revenue, like, are they a $10 million company or a $50 million company? That doesn't matter. What matters is how many people you have in your organization, because that's how many people have got to shift their paradigm.
Yes.
And so that's how I look at the size of an organization. Of course, the larger the organization, the more there will be to structurally change. But you know what? Organizations reorganize all the time. I'm talking about doing it one time and never having to do it again.
Now, Dawn, I know you have all sorts of client success stories, so I know this will be difficult for you. I want you to just pick one that stands out to you.
Absolutely. When I redesigned, my favorite one is when I redesigned a business unit in an organization that had billions in revenue, but it was only 4,500 people. This was in the healthcare space. And so this business unit had approximately 900 employees. And that business unit was had a contract with the state, and we were going out for bid again. And the intel said, well, we've got to cut operational costs by 2.4 million, or we can't afford to bid at where we should be bidding to win the contract. And so for weeks, the executive teams poured over budgets, and from directors, VPs, and C-suite were pouring over the financials, trying to find 2.4 billion or million to cut. And I put my hand up once I heard about all of this, about 3 weeks into them doing that, and I said, well, I can find that. And they dismissed me. And so I came back a week later and I said, no, really, I can find that. I had been in the organization a year and I knew I could find it. And so I said, look, I don't cost anything to you. Let me go do it. So I went and did it, did my analysis, which took 3 weeks. And I found the 2.4 million, no problem. And it took another 3 weeks to restructure that business unit to be more customer focused. And in doing so, number one, we found a way to reduce operational costs, allowing the organization to win that contract, which meant $1 billion in revenue for the next 5 years. We avoided a company-wide 20% layoff. We improved customer resolution time from averaging 30 days with a first call resolution of 86% to same day resolution and a first call resolution of 96%. And the people working the process were thrilled. They were finally happy. They had been unable to actually serve customers because the organization was so disjointed, nobody could do that well. So they were absolutely thrilled with the new process, and they were all part of designing it. They owned it. They bought into it. So that was a huge success. So in 6 weeks, that was $1 billion win, avoided a 20% layoff, dramatically improved customer experience, dramatically. And
I bet they loved you, Dawn, after doing all of that. And what's coming to my mind, Dawn, now I know why they call you the business transformation engineer. That is an incredible success story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dawn, you go ahead, carry on.
Oh, no, it was exciting to be a part of that. And Yeah, unfortunately, the other 80% of the business could have mimicked what we did and better satisfied their customers, as well as lowered some operational cost, and they never took it on. This is the type of resistance that I see time and again. I was also let go 2 weeks later.
You hear stories like this all of the time, Dawn. Some people just need to get out of their old-fashioned ways of thinking and acting, yes, and open their eyes. How do clients typically hear about you, Dawn? And are there certain life moments that usually lead to them seeking you out?
Well, if their business is struggling, there's no need for it. As long as they have a viable product or service to offer the world, there's no need for it.
I hear you. Dawn, I have really, really enjoyed learning about you, your business, and how you help organizations. You really have shared how you can really transform organizations' profit, the way that the business and organization is run, productivity, to make organizations happier in the workplace. People need to connect with you, Dawn. What is the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Well, you can visit our website at 3 D's in Dawn, valuegroup.com. So 3dvaluegroup.com. Also, I have an author page, dawnhollyjohnson.com. And you can sign up there to get notified for the release of the book, which should be September. It might be sooner. And also you can email us at info@3dvaluegroup.com.
Dawn, thank you so much for coming on to the Brilliance Business Show. I've really enjoyed having a conversation with you.
Thank you, Mark. I so appreciate the opportunity.
It's been my pleasure. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.